Welcome back to the Web Hacking Vulnerability series. In this episode, we are going to explore most well-known and researched vulnerability class, cross-site scripting. If you've been following this series, we already covered Open Redirect and HTML injection. After learning those vulnerabilities, there is no surprise that XSS is often the result of them. While Open Redirect and HTML injection might be considered level 0 vulnerabilities, XSS is definitely level 1, taking things to the whole new impact. What is cross-site scripting? Cross-site scripting, short for XSS, is a security flaw in web applications where attackers can inject malicious scripts into the web pages that others view. These scripts can steal data, impersonate users, or perform unwanted actions. XSS typically occurs when websites don't properly validate or sanitize user input. Imagine that you have a blog where users can comment on your posts. An attacker finds the way to insert malicious script into the comment. Another user views that comment and the script runs in their browser. The script could steal their login information, redirect them to a malicious site, or perform actions on their behalf without their knowledge. Types of XSS. First one is stored XSS, malicious scripts that are stored on the server, such as in the comment or profile field, and executed when users view the content. For example, an attacker posts a comment containing JavaScript. When other users read it, the script runs in their browsers and steals their session cookies. Next one is reflected XSS, scripts that are reflected off the web application onto the user's browser, typically through the URL or form submission. An example would be when an attacker sends victim a link of the blog post with malicious script in the URL. When victim clicks on the link, the script will execute in their browser. DOM-based XSS. The vulnerability occurs in JavaScript code itself, where the document object model is manipulated without proper validation. For example would be that an attacker injects the script into the search bar and the script manipulates the page dynamically when the victim searches for something. And lastly, blind XSS occurs when the attacker injects malicious script into the form, for instance contact form, and the script executes when the admin reviews the form submission. This type of issue is called blind because you will never know when your script will execute, and you have to have the listener server to listen for those type of scripts. I have a video about how you can create your custom blind XSS server, so feel free to check it out. XSS is classic web vulnerability that has consistently ranked high in the OWASP top 10. It was highlighted as A3 cross-site scripting in 2013 and 2017. On 2021, however, it was grouped into the injection class. Despite the development of modern defenses, XSS remains common due to improper input sanitization and output encoding. Here are common places where XSS vulnerabilities occur. Login forms. Attackers can inject scripts into unsanitized login fields. Search bars. Injecting scripts into the search queries can lead to compromised data as well. User profiles. Malicious scripts could be stored in the profile fields and then execute when others view profile. It's really interesting area for blind XSS. Comment sections. Stored XSS is often found in the comment sections where user input is displayed, like usually think of forums, support pages. Message boards. Forums with user-generated content are really interesting target for XSS as well. Even some file uploads. Scripts can be embedded in uploaded files metadata or in the files contents themselves, and then executed when this file could be displayed somewhere or previewed. Then email templates. User provided content in emails could include scripts that run when email is viewed, and there might be even more areas where you can find XSS. Those are just some examples, but it's really common to see. Here are some potential impacts of XSS. So session hijacking, credential theft, sensitive data exposure, privilege escalation, phishing attacks, denial of service, some financial fraud even. But I think the most main impact that many people do seek is account takeovers. How to test for XSS? Testing for XSS involves manual testing and some automated tools as well, if you want to. Manual testing, then performing manual testing, insert common XSS payloads into the input fields, URLs, HTTP headers, and then observe how the application responds. So everywhere you see the forms on almost every URL parameter, and see if the payload might be reflected back and check if the context is properly escaped. When it comes to automated tools, use tools like Burp Suite Scanner to scan for XSS vulnerabilities for some interesting endpoints, especially in authenticated areas. Nuclei is also useful for the mass scale unauthenticated testing. I've seen some people using XSS frameworks. Personally, I don't tend to use that, but there might be some success stories from there, but personally, I'm not really big fan of that. And for blind XSS testing, I recommend submitting payloads in the areas where the data of those fields might be reviewed by some kind of staff, admin, or another user. So I really recommend checking your profile name, maybe even some HTTP headers might be used for tracking your interactions with the page. For instance, user agent could be interesting attack vector, and many more. So basically you can find my blind XSS methodology on my Patreon page, so feel free to check that out. Here are some common XSS contexts and how to approach testing for them. So HTML context might be script, alert, XSS, and closed script tag. So when you're looking for this type of HTML context, there are certain symbols to check, like those. Next one is attribute context. For instance, it could happen inside the HTML attribute. So for example, on mouse over equals, and then you can paste your XSS payload like alert XSS as like simplest example. And in this type of context, you should look for those symbols. Next one, JavaScript context. So when you're looking inside the JavaScript file, so those symbols for it are the same as in attribute context. Then there is CSS context. So you should look for closing style tag, single and double quotes. And then in URL context, so for instance, just by using JavaScript scheme plus alert XSS could be checked. As I said in some previous video about open redirect, this is the way how you chain open redirect to the XSS. And then the last one is HTML comment context. So for instance, when you close the comment and insert your XSS payload, so symbols to look for are just regular HTML comment strings like these. As we saw in earlier videos, open redirect and HTML injection can lead to XSS if an attacker can inject scripts through HTML injection or redirect users to a page containing malicious scripts via open redirect or by just using JavaScript scheme. It will open the door for XSS. So here are the ways XSS can be combined with other vulnerabilities for more impact. So XSS plus CSRF, use XSS to perform actions on behalf of authenticated users. XSS plus session hijacking, steal session cookies to impersonate users. XSS plus SSRF could exfiltrate internal server infrastructure, port scanning, and etc. And some pretty one that might be questionable. XSS plus phishing. Inject a fake login form to steal user credentials. Cross-site scripting is one of the most powerful web vulnerabilities due to its versatility and potential for the harm. After learning Open Redirect and HTML injection, it's easy to see how XSS can escalate into much more severe attack. If you found this video helpful, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to check out the next episode in the series. See you there.